Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Open Ultra League, and let's see what we're running here. It's going to be probably the Shadow Dragonite paired with the Skeledirge, and then pairing off with the Registeel. So we get the Mirror Shadow Dragonite matchup right here, and we're going to try to catch a move, and we do catch a Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw is tanked by the Regi, and then they actually farm up to another Dragon Claw and switch out. We're going to throw this Zap Cannon right at the Skeledirge. Skeledirge versus this Registeel. Not the best matchup for the Registeel. We don't even get the debuff right there. We're trying to get to another Zap Cannon. This next Zap Cannon here does potentially take out the Skeledirge, which it does. So we are able to successfully flip the switch. Our opponent goes right back in with their Dragonite. We go with our Dragonite. We did have a move, but they win CAP, so a little bit unlucky right there. And then they do reveal that they have the Golisopod in the back. Golisopod is going to potentially have Liquidation, but they are revealing that they have the Aerial Ace. We're going to go for this Disarming Voice right here. We do get a shield. We're going to go for another Disarming Voice. It does get that last shield. And now it comes down to this decision. Is this the Liquidation or is this the Aerial Ace? We shield the Aerial Ace bait, and unfortunately, they're able to get to another move. Next move here is the Liquidation for the KO. So GG's to our opponent. A little bit unlucky. We had the we on the losing end of that CAP time on our Dragonite. Otherwise, it would have been slightly alive, and then potentially we would have been able to beat that Golisopod. Next, we're gonna have the Tentacruel versus our Shadow Dragonite here. We're gonna throw on CAP, and this Dragon Claw right here does get shielded. And then that prompts us to shield as well. Both of us are staying in right now. As you can see, we're doing some good fast move damage. We're going to go for this Dragon Claw. Again, doesn't quite KO. So we're just going to decide to let this go and potentially farm with something in the back. We do get one full Incinerate with our Skeledirge. Our opponent here reveals that they have the Greedent in the back. Greedent here is going to be able to potentially throw super effective Crunch. Let's see if it, okay, it does get the debuff, and we try to switch out right there, but our opponent was able to snipe our energy. We're going to have to shield right here, farm up just a little bit extra, and then throw this Disarming Voice for additional chip damage. Then we're going to switch out, and our opponent is deciding to throw another Crunch. This Crunch here doesn't get the debuff, so we are fortunate not to get that debuff. Next Crunch goes through, avoids the debuff again, and now we got to throw this move because they are revealing that, okay, they shield right there, signaling they definitely don't want to see this Registeel in the back. They go for another Crunch right here. We do get debuff, but we are able to get to another Focus Blast before they can get to another move. So let's see what's in the back right here. Ends up being the Skarmory. Skarmory is going to potentially throw, and then we're going to force them to throw a move on our Skeledirge, because we already have a move on our Registeel. So let's see if this Zap Cannon does take it out, and boom! Takes out that 100% or level 50 Skarmory right there. So GG's to our opponent. Let's see if we can continue the good games here. Okay, Armor Mewtwo is very interesting. We're going to switch out just to see what they have in the back. They have the Licky in the back. This Licky, it is quite tanky. It is a ultra Licky, potentially known Shadow Ball. So we do shield the Shadow Ball right here, but they're doing some tremendous fast move pressure. This next Disarming Voice here ends up going through, and we try to farm down right there because we didn't want them to get additional farm with our Skeledirge. So we decided to double shield that situation. Our opponent does have the Shadow Machamp in the back. We get to two moves. They end up double shielding. Here, we're going to hope that, okay, ends up being the Rock Slide, and that's going to completely wipe out our Dragonite easily. But unfortunately for us, this Machamp is going to be able to get to this Cross Chop here, do some good damage, and then they have the Mewtwo still in the front. This Mewtwo here is going to be able to throw a Side Strike, and our Registeel just does not have enough health to survive. So this is GG's right here. We do get the debuff, but it doesn't matter at this point. Nice team right there. Interesting combination. Just unfortunate that the Registeel in our backline just didn't have any play. All right, next, let's see what we have in the front here. Shadow Dragonite versus the Skeledirge. They switch out into the Cresselia. So we're going to switch out into the Registeel. This Registeel is going to tank the Moonblast. So we're going to throw this Zap Cannon. This Zap Cannon does get the debuff on the Cresselia, but I don't think it matters because they're going to be able to tank multiple, and the switch clock is going to get reset anyways. So they potentially could reset this, but let's see what happens. Our opponent here does throw another Moonblast. Seems like they only have Moonblast in Future Sight. They're going to go and throw another Moonblast, like we just said, and we're going to undercharge this Focus Blast right here. We do get the undercharge right here, and we slightly get some energy. We're going to throw this Zap Cannon right here to look for a potential debuff. Our opponent does end up shielding, so we're going to allow it to go down, and we're going to decide to go in with our Dragonite right here. This Dragonite is going to have to shield because they do have the Disarming Voice. They end up having 2 Disarming Voices. And then our opponent does switch out into the Clefable. This Clefable here doesn't have any moves that it can throw super effective damage to this Skeledirge. So we're going to do our best to throw a move here and farm down. We go for one more Incinerate right here. Does this last Incinerate take out this Clefable? Let's find out. No, but we had to use an extra one, so we're a ton of energy. Our opponent is going to have to end up shielding here. And they win this CAP. Unfortunately for us, we lose the CAP and we lose all that damage. Now we're going to have to see if this Dragon Claw does decide to take it out. And unfortunately for us, we aren't able to get to another move or another fast move to get this extra damage to take it out. So GG's to our opponent right there. Losing CAP versus their own Skeledirge is very brutal, especially since we had a full Shadow Ball available. Okay, next we have the Jellicent here. We're going to throw this Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw is going to go through, chip away at this Jellicent. Here, we're going to shield here. Ends up being the Surf Bait. So nice bait by my opponent here. Now we're going to throw this Dragon Claw on CAP again. They decided to finally shield. And we're going to double shield here because this is most likely a Shadow Ball. Ends up being the Shadow Ball. Let's see what they have in the back. Ends up being the Cresselia. So Cresselia right here, we're going to switch out because we have 2 good matchups against this. Skeledirge does tank the first Future Sight. Then we're going to throw our own Shadow Ball right here. They decide to shield. So they're indicating they don't want to see the Skeledirge. So we're just going to throw this Disarming Voice right when we have it. And then our opponent here is going to throw a move. And okay, ends up being the Moonblast. Doesn't quite KO. But they are able to farm us down, unfortunately. Luckily for us, we do have the Registeel that can tank all these Registeel moves. Our opponent ends up having the Virizion in the back. So now you know why they didn't want to see the Skeledirge. And then here, we're going to try to get this Virizion so low that we can farm down with the Regi. They're trying to look for farm down, but that's not going to happen. They have to throw a move. Ends up being the Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword barely doesn't KO, and we are able to win that game. So check out this team if you haven't already, and let us know if you enjoyed the video.